Okay, right. I think that's us started recording. So again, welcome to our Let's Talk About Inclusion session, and I will hand over to Graham to begin and give us a wee introduction of himself and tell us all about inclusion. So over to you, Graham.
Alison, thank you so much, and thank you everybody. I think it's been a long time coming. We've been talking about it for a number of years, and I would just say fabulous that we've now got a start to be doing this type of thing. I'm certainly not the guru on inclusion, just to say that it's been one of my passions all of my Scout life. Why, I'll tell you a bit about that in a minute. I wanted to talk to you, if it's okay with everybody, a bit about what we're doing at UK level, what we might think about doing at a local level, and particularly share a couple of activities with you that we're doing in Europe. Some of you might have taken part in them before, so I hope that's okay with everybody. Couple of ground rules. Please, there is no such thing in my mind as a silly question. All questions are valid, yeah? I think we need to respect everybody's point of view, even if it differs to ours. I think that's an important part of making everybody feel comfortable. And of course, this is very much, as far as I'm concerned, a safe space. So yeah, anything sort of goes in. And when it comes to questions and that, I think, Alison, that's a really good idea to turn the recording off, and then people might feel a bit more comfortable. As I say, there's no silly questions, and I think there's, for me, potentially there's no right and wrong answer. I think there's some do's and don'ts in all the things that we do, and it will be different whichever part of the country that you live and carry out your scouting and your professional lives. So I just wanted to share a bit about the lived experience that I've had, and in particular why I'm so passionate about it in Scouts. Because I am old now, folks. I am old, and the polyfiller cracks are starting to show. But it's amazing what you can do with polyfiller in the morning. So when I was very much younger, I went through a difficult period in my life where my parents decided that they no longer liked each other. The family was all broken up. I was left with a great aunt, which was quite traumatic at the time, but actually was one of the best things that ever happened, because somebody gave me a chance to be involved in scouting. And I've never looked back from that day, and I'm very grateful to those individuals at the time that allowed me to come along and learn all about what we do and the value of what we do and the values of other like-minded people. So that was always my starting point, and that's why the inclusion debate has always been very passionate for me. And I think the journey over the years, as some of you will know, those of you that are like me and are recycled teenagers will recall where we used all the buzzwords at the time, and headquarters was dreadful. I don't mind saying it. We had the token woman or young woman in the leadership team. We had a black person working for us, and at the time that seemed to be okay. Yes, not for me. We needed to sort of look much wider, and so there's a couple of things I would like you all to do if you haven't already done it. There is a bit on the new version of Compass, which actually doesn't take you all over the place this time. It's pretty well thought out, I think, but there are some technical issues. But there is a block there on about inclusion, and it would be really good if you had the time to have a browse through that information there. It's pretty good. I think some of the stuff that we've talked about recently is around about equality, but I think we're more now looking at equity rather than equality, and sort of we're great, aren't we? We're great in Scouts for having mnemonics and shortened versions of stuff. I sometimes get a bit annoyed about that, but so I found this and tinkered with it, and some of you might have heard this before, so I'll just share this with you. So if we're talking about equity, diversity, inclusion, the simple scenario is equality is everyone getting a pair of shoes. Diversity is everyone getting a different type of shoe. Equity is everyone having a pair of shoes that fit. And acceptance in all of this is an understanding that we all wear different kinds of shoes, and a sense of the three bits of equity, diversity, inclusion is belonging. And belonging for me is wearing the shoes that you want to wear without fear of any judgment. So, you know, there's a slight difference there. When we talk about equality, we say, well, everybody should be the same, but actually some people might not be in a position to have the tools to be able to be equally involved in everything. So I think one of the key things for us in Scouts is to make sure that we create opportunities for people to get the tools to do that. So what did I want to say to you? Yeah, inclusion is not always easy for a number of reasons. And I would like to say to you that we have this thing at the minute that this is a personal view, by the way. Please don't say Graham Coulson from the inclusion team at headquarters says this is the law. A personal view is that I sometimes think that we go about trying to be totally inclusive the wrong way. And so what I would say to you is that we say, oh yes, we go along to a group of perceived marginalized young people and adults and say, oh, scouting will be good for you, this, that, and the next thing. When actually scouting might not be good for that community in particular. And so for me, it's about going along to, I'm not picking on you, John, but because you're my friend, but going along to John, who runs a community, but John's community isn't involved in scouting. But so we have that dialogue together about, well, John, tell me about what you do with your young people and adults. And oh, right. So you do that, do you? Well, we do something similar in Scouts. So I wonder if we might maybe do some joint activities together, etc., etc. So that for me is a different approach to rather going in gung-ho saying scouting is the best thing for you when actually it might do. I think it's about learning about the groups that you're trying to engage with and involve in scouting. And so I think for us, it's always important to find out what are the key priorities and how can we do that. So I have a simple tool that I use quite frequently, and I hope you can see that. Again, it's old-fashioned to a lot of younger people probably. It's a simple radar screen that they used to use for air traffic control. So where do we want to be? We want to be right in the center of the radar there. So what are the key priorities? Then you write them down and place them on the radar chart. And it may be that some are off the radar and you want to get them on and move them in as quickly as possible to the center, which I think is ideal, but I'm not sure, personal view again, I'm not sure the reality is that we will ever get everything to the center point there, because the world in which we live changes, as you know, on a daily basis. So I think some of the key quick wins are, if you're not sure about something, just go and ask somebody that maybe knows a bit more about the subject than you do. And please, please, please don't be afraid of the diversity agenda and everything. There are so many different aspects to it nowadays that we need to be comfortable that it's okay to go and ask somebody. I still do that. But if I'm not sure about something, I recently was chatting about the buzzword now, which is neurodivergent, young people that are neurodivergent and all that. And so what does that mean? I'm busy working my way through all of that. The bottom line for me is we're not experts. We're sort of like a first line listener, and I think that's an important thing for us to always remember, that we're not a statutory organisation. Therefore, it is okay to say no. And the reason I say that is that we need to be mindful that if we're working with a group of young people and young adults in a leadership team, we need to be mindful that everybody's a key part of what we do. And therefore, if somebody, we should always be open to anybody coming in, but we need to be mindful that sometimes I could give you examples where parents and carers have brought young people with multiple needs to join the group, and actually you need to look at how the rest of the group would manage with that. So it's a bit about looking at the whole, and it is, as I say, it is okay to say no. We've had to do that in some different parts of the country, but what we did do, we backed it up with finding opportunities where the specialist scouting takes place. So, for example, well, in Southeast, we did have the group at the Royal Blind School. They still have special opportunity group in Glasgow, and of course the stuff going on in hospitals as well, which is a great thing, and that for me tackles the perhaps more difficult ones that our volunteers may need to deal with. So as I say, sometimes it's not easy, and one size doesn't fit all, and so I have been challenged a couple of times by some individuals who say, well, you know, that's an all-white scout group. And actually, that might be okay because your scout group, for me, doesn't reflect the community in which you live and work. So if you walk along your local high street, does your scout group kind of reflect that your local community? And in some parts of particularly rural Scotland, it may be the case that it's all white individuals. Our local group here, we do have some young people who come from families, Asian families who have businesses, and so they come to the Scout group. Totally open here with you. Never been able to attract young people from the Chinese community, and I'd be interested to know if that's something that you've experienced. My thoughts around it are that, well, usually young people are in the Chinese community are very much working in the family business and whatever, and therefore don't have time to take part in in other activities. So that's one where we still work on here in Selkirk, because we've got 2 Chinese establishments, but we don't seem to get anywhere with that. But other parts of the community, we have, I think we're doing quite well. We can get young people along, so that's fine. So I just want to pause there. If anybody had any thoughts at the minute on what I've just said before I move on to something else. Excuse me. If you haven't, that's fine, but you can leave it till the end if you like. Oh, Louise.
Louise has got her hand up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so you had you mentioned you've got tools that you can use. Is that to be able to kind of discuss areas of inclusion with other people, or is it to help the young people, or you had like your flight radar map thing?
Yeah.
Is this your own tools, or are these something that's available for people to find on the Scout websites?
This is old. I don't think you'll find this on the Scout website, but if you just download, Louise, a picture of a radar screen, and then the great thing about the radar screen for me is it's very personal to use an individual and use a group. So what are your priorities in your group? And that might be about attracting more volunteers. It might be looking at the gender balance. It might be about engaging with other parts of the community to ensure that scouting can be offered to young people that want to come along. When we make an assumption here that everybody wants to come along to Scouts, that's not always the case. I think I know on the website with the inclusion bit, there are some ideas about how you might go about building your inclusivity at a local level.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Hazel's also got her hand up. Hazel, do you want to ask your question? Oh, you're still muted.
You're on mute, Hazel.
I was going to ask, the diversity of the leaders, does that have an impact on some people? Do you think that having leaders from certain areas of the society, does it mean that, say you were saying the Chinese population, do you think that stops them putting their hand up and coming in as leaders?
My open answer to that, Hazel, is I'm not sure. I think those parents and carers who have young people that want to access scouting may or may not have the time to do it. And I think that's again, because I'm old, folks. What's a standard working week nowadays? It's certainly not Monday to Friday 9 till 5, which I think we kind of have to live with now. And it's about time that people can give and what other family commitments are. But yeah, I think we should always be looking at group level and then in the district and the region. Does our leadership team reflect the community? And sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. I think would be my simple answer to that.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Can I just say also, if anyone wants to ask a question while Graham's talking, if you don't want to ask it in person, just feel free to put it in the chat and we'll read it out at the end in the question and answer session.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry, that's all for me.
Perfect. So there's lots of things going on in terms of trying to support stuff across the UK with inclusion. We have a team of currently about 15 volunteers who support inclusion from across the UK and the nations, and that's in the process of being expanded. We have a new lead volunteer, Rebecca Armstrong, who's heading that up, and we also have some dedicated support staff at headquarters, which I think for me to actually get the trustees to acknowledge the fact that inclusion is just as important as the programme and other areas of what we do is brilliant, and that we've got some dedicated staff positions for that is a major move forward. So there are things, you know, we have a set of workshops that you can access in terms of training. There's stuff on mental well-being, and there's stuff on dyspraxia, there's stuff on autism, there's stuff on dyslexia, there's stuff on LGBT, and you can find that on oh, sorry, Graham, be careful here. You could find that on the website, and I think you possibly still can. They're in the process of revamping the workshop. We're not calling them, we're calling them units rather than modules, because if you say a training module, there's all sorts of malarkey that you had to go through. But then with the new the new training stuff, it's slightly different. But those units are there, and they're specifically designed to give you information about how to tackle dyspraxia, dyslexia, all that sort of thing. So that's well worth doing that, having a look at that. Also, I would say to you, if you have something that you really need some support from, and you can't get it locally, because we don't know all the answers, then you can phone the information centre, and they will put you on to the right person who will actually get you an answer. So yeah, so there's lots of stuff going on and more to come. And as I say, as the ever-changing world of I don't like additional needs, and that I like the word opportunities. There's additional opportunities for young people to be part of. But I think I would say, personal view again here, is that we need to get all of this inclusion stuff in balance with the day-to-day other stuff that happens, you know, all the quality program stuff that goes on. We need to be mindful that that's a great thing that happens, and to me we should be trying to interlink everything together, rather than major priorities here, there, and everywhere. But again, that's a personal view. So I'm going to hopefully you'll be able to see this, and it's old-fashioned because I'm a cub leader. I love bits of paper and sticky things and all that. So I'm going to run by you a number of pictures, and then I just like you to look at them, and then I'm going to ask you what you see in the picture. Okay? So there's about 5, I think. So here we go. Here's the first one. Can everybody see that?
Not really.
No.
You lift it up a wee bit, and a wee bit further away. Up a wee bit more. There.
Is that better?
Yep.
Cool. Thank you for that help. That's one. Here's number 2. Yep. Well, too long, isn't it? Here's number 3. Yeah. Number 4. And number 5. You can see that.
Just a bit further back.
Oh, sorry, a bit further back. Yep. Is that better?
Yeah.
Cool. Good. And the very last one is this one. So I'll need to go up and down a bit, but maybe you can see the individual there. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so this is a bit of work that we're doing in Europe, and I'd be really keen to get your you your answers on this, if that's okay. It's all part of the EDI debate, and it is about a part of the work that about perceptions, about what we see when we first look at an individual, and does that cloud our issue? Does that cloud our issues about that young person or adult being able to be involved in scouting? So the first one, what did you see there? Just shout out at random, that'd be fine. Anybody?
Not very clear and shiny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's a Hindu priest. Yeah. It's a Hindu priest. Number 2 was a gentleman, yeah. What do you think you see there?
An older gentleman.
Yeah.
An older gentleman, cool, yeah, that's fine. Good. What's this one? Oh yes, this one. Did you get that? What do you see there?
It's like football fans or something.
Football fans?
Yeah.
Cool. Good. Okay, that's perfect. And then this one.
Maybe an imam or something like that.
An imam. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A Muslim
okay.
person, I would say.
Sorry?
A Muslim person.
A Muslim person. Okay, brilliant. Okay, right. And this one?
Is a Jewish woman possibly? Is that a Torah?
It is well spotted, yes. It is. Okay. And then the last one was
Buddhist.
a Buddhist. Yeah,
Buddhist
cool.
monk, aye.
Right. Okay. So when you look at something, first of all, right now I would like you to tell me which one of those pictures shows is the drug dealer. Ah,
The older person.
the older person. Okay. Anybody else?
Could have been the first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
Spot on, Margaret. The first one is the drug dealer, not the said individual in the picture, but yeah, lots of drug dealers hide behind religion. So well done on that. Okay. So who? Well, the easy one. Let's get the easy one. The lady that you saw. Yeah, that was one of the first female rabbis. So I mean, I think that was a major step for faiths and beliefs and everything. Cool. Now, who's the social worker?
That could have been the older gentleman.
That one?
Yep.
Correct. That's right. So who's now? You said I want to. Yeah. Why did you think that was a group of football fans?
No, the
I guessed
jerseys.
it purely from the top.
The jersey, because you looked at the jersey. Yeah. Actually, it's a group of young people at a praise concert.
I thought Ibiza when I saw it, but yeah.
yeah. And the last one, well, yeah, the last one. Who's the child trafficker?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the stuff there is roundabout perceptions, about how we see people and about how we need to explore a bit more where people are coming from and everything. And so it is an important part to be inclusive, but we need to be inclusive in the right directions. And that's why in Scouts we have this thing about talking to people, and the power of dialogue to find out what they're up to and where they're coming from is fabulous, and that helps us move things forward. So yeah, and then the very last bit that I wanted to talk to you about was about perceptions of people, and that's partially goes together with assumptions about people and what people might be up to, and I think that that's an important thing that we should have in the back of our mind when we're working with young people, and especially for me, it's about the power of dialogue to find out when somebody, perhaps who we don't know, comes along and wants to be part of what we do, because I'm sure we can all pull out examples of where people have come along and we have not proved to be, and I use that word, proved to be the right individual to come along and work with young people and young adults. So that's all I really want to say, Alison, at the minute, because I think if you're going to continue doing these things, we can get I know you are, we can get the opportunity in the future to explore them in a bit more detail. So I'm happy for us to chat now, whatever you like, what sorts of questions, if you have any, then fine, that would be great.